Can you believe it? It's been 5 years since I made my first squishy. Well, way over 5 years. But this one here, I made 5 years ago on my channel, which is insane because, well, one, look at it. Two, the fact that I still have it. I'm gonna remake it today because I think I can do a better job. Hello, everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I am making a homemade squishy. I haven't made one of these in a good year, maybe 2 years. And the reason I'm doing it today is because I have a load of stress and I wanna take it out on some foam. I bought some foam. It's back there. I went to my local hardware store, picked it up, and it's a nice big noodle of a piece. I didn't want too much this time, so I just went in there and got this little bit. 4 by 4 by 31 apparently, and it cost me £4.99, which is a bargain. Just a big slice of memory foam. Now, if you don't have a hardware store near you that sells like cuts of foam, then definitely eBay, Amazon, anything like that is your friend. But long story short, the squishy I'm going to be remaking today is this one here. I have already remade this in the past, but the video is so atrocious, you can't see anything that's going on. I actually don't even have that remade squishy anymore. So it's time to remake this again. On my last squishy remake, I actually made this squishy so much bigger. That's definitely not what I want to do here today. I want to make it kind of the same size, just kind of better. So I'm just kind of lining up the foam and then kind of cutting it sort of the same thickness as the avocado itself. I do suck at making these cuts, but I really enjoy cutting foam. It's so therapeutic, just snipping away. So I'm gonna cut all the way through to the other side. It's like the most jagged piece of foam ever, but we can fix it. Now we're gonna wanna cut down the other way too, so making that the same width. On the jagged edge, I'm just gonna kind of do an avocado shape, kind of similar to this one, just a little bit better. And like I said, I'm gonna do that on the jagged edge because I don't want the pen to be on the flat edge, because that one there I'm gonna use as the very top. So I'm gonna make it a bit more even this time. I do prefer a little bit of a fatter avocado, so we'll make him a little bit shorter as well. All right, so now that I have that, it's time to start cutting. Like I said, you're gonna want the sharpest scissors possible. Like, hear that? Can you hear that on my mic? I just cut so much on my hair. Okay, so this is the size of it. Definitely shorter and fatter, love that. Now the thickness I want to do the same again, and I'm just gonna really like freehand this and just start snipping away. Like so, doing the same with the big chunks to begin with and then smaller chunks to kind of even it out. Why is this so satisfying to me? Why did I ever stop making squishies? I love this so much. Ooh. Now, the next thing to make, obviously, is the little kind of pit, stone, seed, whatever you want to call it, and pop that onto the center. The glue that I'm going to be using is this one right here. It's so good, it's so strong, and I'm so happy with that. But first of all, we need to shape it. So going back in with the off-cut of foam, it's time to cut off a small bit, probably around about, I don't know, centimeter and a half, and start kind of sorting that. First of all, I'm going to draw a circle, and we will cut it out just the same way as we did that one. Big cuts, and then followed by smaller ones later on so we can smooth that out. This glue dries super flexible and it is super duper strong. The only bad thing with it is it smells quite strong and it does cost quite a bit, but it is worth it because you do only need a tiny bit. And then with all the glue, obviously, we can just stick it down into place. I like to hold it down probably for around about 10 seconds and then release when it's kind of stuck. Ideally, you should probably leave this for 24 hours. I'm too impatient, so I'm just gonna leave this for a couple of minutes. Then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start painting. I might even have some lunch. You know, screw it. I'm gonna have some lunch and then I'll be back. I am so full. I just had so much spaghetti. It's now time to paint. The way that I like to paint my squishies all at one time is by sticking something in the butt of it and being able to turn it and dry it, and yeah. Drying it, I'm gonna use a heat gun or a fan depending on what I'm doing at the time. What I typically like to stick up the butt of mine is a big fat metal skewer. Ooh, what was that? That was scary. Literally just stab it in. This can be very sharp and I have stabbed myself on many occasions, but I stab it in like that and you end up with a little bit of an indent and you want to pull it out just a little bit so that it doesn't like kind of mess up the foam shape, and then it's on there, you see? Like a foam avocado kebab. For squishy paint, I like to mix my own. The way that I do this is I use PVA glue. acrylic paints and some fabric paints. First things first, PVA glue. You want to use a really, really good quality one. This one here I just have kicking around. It's okay, it's Bostik brand. Next up, we need a whole load of fabric paint / puffy paints, whatever you have. These are just ones that I already have, and I'm just using them. Ew. I'm literally just using them for the fact that they're fabric paint, and then we'll use acrylic paint then to just tint this into the color that we actually want. That's actually a really nice green color, but to make it the color I want it, I'm gonna use acrylic paint to tint it. These are premium ones, so they have a lot of color in. You don't want to use too much, but you do want to make sure if you're using acrylic paint, they're not like those ones that kind of go really like hard and crispy when they dry. These ones here kind of tend to stay quite flexible, which I really, really like. And some white to make that a lot lighter. Once I have all of this mixed up, by the way, I'm going to go in and just use the same lollipop stick just to kind of smear it over the foam, just so that it kind of creates like a layer on the outside of the foam. I don't want to be pushing this into it so that it soaks into it. A lot of people say to me, like, how do you stop the foam from absorbing the paint? And it's simply by putting like a thick layer on the outside. And I find a lollipop stick is kind of the easiest way to do this. Like later on, when painting on the details and make it even smoother, you can use a paintbrush. But I find the first couple of layers at least with the lollipop stick is probably the best way forward. As you can see here, I'm just kind of like, you know, spreading my paint on right now, and I'm making sure that the kind of like holes of the foam are all covered, so that it's all covered in a nice kind of like outer layer of the paint, which will kind of dry down. And then as we build it up like so, it's going to create like a thicker kind of like outer kind of like layer. I don't want to say skin because it sounds gross, but it's basically just like a skin of paint on top of the squishy. Okay, so this is after layer 3. It's getting somewhere now. I reckon it'll be really, really slow rising. But I'm going to keep on going probably until I have like 6, maybe even 7 layers on there. So I'm on the 7th layer, and I think I'm going to stop there in terms of this green color. I'm going to paint on all the details now. So the way that I like to do this part is actually by removing the metal rod part first, just because it sometimes rips the outer paint. Actually, this one here has gone really, really smoothly. It just kind of looks like a little kind of butt. In order to actually seal this, I'm going to be using fabric paint again. Doesn't matter what kind of color fabric paint that we're going to be using here, because obviously we're going to paint over this back piece in a dark green, but just like so we cover that air hole up completely, and we'll set that to dry with the heat gun. Now I do still have a small bit left of this paint, so I'm just going to tint that into a darker green shade, and then a little bit of brown in, actually 2 dollops of brown and a bit of a darker green, just to make that up into the kind of green shade that I want on the back of the avocado. So here I am going to be using just this dark green with a paintbrush. It's just going to be easier for me. I did actually put a little bit of green over that as well, just to seal it in before I did so. I just thought I'd help smooth it out a little bit, because it's going to be a little bit rough still. So yeah, just paint this on as you would normal paint. Okay, so now that all the dark green's set, look at that. Oh, that's kind of really cool texture on there as well. Really liking that. I'm going to paint the kind of pit stone with a brown and just mix this up. So yeah, I'm just going to paint this on, and then it's time for the face. Okay, eyeball number 1. I have to concentrate now. Eyeball number 2, it's done. And now for the mouth, we're going to do a little open mouth on this one. Oh, the other one had a little smile. Do we do a little? I'm going to do a little smile like that one, actually. Oh, it's a bit wonky now. Okay, I've put all the final details on it. I'm so excited to share this with you. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. I'm going to give you some glamour shots. I am absolutely loving how this has turned out. I think it's adorable. A few changes I did make. I put the face at the top because down the bottom it was not working. I made it shorter, fatter. Look at that, so cute. Obviously the amount of layers of paint on there, 10 times its match. Another little thing I had to do off camera actually, I stabbed a pin in it loads of times to create airflow. It didn't work out quite so well because the paint on this was obviously so thick. So I actually ended up putting a little eye pin in the top so that you can almost put a tag on there. And I made a little slit to put that in, and then the air's kind of going in and out of that. And obviously the little kind of eye pin is disguising the fact that there is a little slit there. So now the air kind of comes out of that hole, makes it slow rising, as opposed to this one. Perfect amount of slow rising this as well. So happy with that. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for joining me today on remaking this squishy. I feel like I've done a good thing. Like, I've fixed a video that I've wanted to do for so long. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will catch you again for another video coming very soon. If you have anything in particular you want to see on this channel or see me remake, then definitely just leave me a comment down below and I will try my best to get onto that. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye.